Let's take a look at Gemma 4.31b versus Qwen 27b. We'll cover the following tasks. For the test setup, models from Unsloth were used, both quantized to 4 bits. The GPU used is a modified 2080 Ti with 22 GB. So for this electrical circuit explainer task, the Qwen version has more info and adjustments, but doesn't work properly. The voltage slider does move the electrons faster, but the light bulb doesn't work. The resistance slider also doesn't do anything. And it took over 4,000 tokens in 3 minutes to produce the page. The Gemma version is simpler, but works properly. There is a problem with the button label initially, but it corrects itself with use. Pressing the button to close the circuit will turn on the bulb and show the electrons moving. Using the resistance slider will correctly show the light bulb dimming. There is also a bonus quiz at the end to round out the task of creating an interactive explainer. And Gemma took 3,000 tokens in only 1.5 minutes. So for the second task, Qwen creates an impressive looking options simulator, but like the task before, it doesn't work properly. Any interaction seems to add to the page without clearing the previous items and quickly becomes a mess. Then there's the default example being shown, which is not a typical credit call spread, and a terrible example as it's heavily bearish. Something I wouldn't use as the first example to showcase option strategies. Also, the scale on the left side is missing 2 zeros to the numbers, or it should be converted to points. Gemma is again much simpler but correctly done. It could use more labels, but does a good job in showcasing the strategies. It shows a debit call spread where you can buy above the current price and sell another leg further out. Unfortunately, they should also show the simulated SPX price. But at least this visualizer works and shows the basic shape of the option strategies and the various legs. Gemma easily takes this one too. So for this third test, we'll look at language translations, with 8 questions split between Korean and Japanese. So both models had problems expressing the word try in a sentence. But Qwen had problems with both Korean and Japanese, where Gemma had problems with only Japanese. Okay, so you can see here on number 4 of the Korean test, Qwen suggested the fixed sentence as 연습하고 있어요. 연습하고 있어요. But that's not quite the same thing as I try. Gemma 4's answer was 연습하려고 해요, which is the correct answer. So here Gemma comes out on top again, although it was a weak victory. These were just 3 tests that mimic the tasks I do with local models. Lots of interactive explainers, modeling or simulators, and language translations. Gemma 4 was clearly the better model for my use case, and the one that I currently switched to. Qwen tries to overachieve with mixed results. The most frustrating part is it generates tons of tokens by thinking too much and ends up taking longer. I realize these one-shot tests are not all that realistic, because in real life, you'll be iterating over your tasks. I plan on doing deeper tests using an agent platform like Hermes Agent. It'll likely be with the next iteration of these 2 models. See you next time.